All right, guys, I'm here with the new Tilta Hydra Mini. I think some people would say this is a bit overkill, but the price point on this, it doesn't make sense. I don't know how Tilta's doing it. Obviously, you see we have a shock absorber up here, pretty cool stuff. But then we have the isolator. This was the #1 issue that we were having when it came to like any more rugged, robust off-road type stuff. The readout speed on the Pocket 3 just wasn't fast enough. So if you're in like a off-road vehicle, you know, the suspension is a little bit stiffer. So every pothole you hit, it's a little bit more stiff. So Tilta also came up with an isolator here. Now this is pre-production. Already put in a couple of notes. More importantly, we have Tilta's new electronic suction cup. I don't know if anybody has covered this yet. I also have their Hydra Pro arm. That's obviously the bigger setup. I'm gonna tap that red button right there and you'll hear, I don't know if you hear with all the traffic. Let's turn on the Pocket 3 and let's run it. I also have an anamorphic lens on the end of this. All right, guys, so I'm just going to connect to the DJI Pocket 3 from my phone here. Pretty much what we're seeing there. So from here, I can control the gimbal. Say if I want to get a shot of the road, I could flip the camera around just like that. Imagine if, you know, we try to rig this up to the front of there, like you're gonna, you know, you're gonna need way more gear, way more money to actually pull it off. We're running on the DJI Pocket 3. This is the audio from the Pocket 3, and this is the audio from the A7CR. Sedona is still in the view here, but let's get going. So we're getting a little bit of rocky territory. So let's flip this. So this is gonna be pretty bumpy. And again, I have a anamorphic lens on this, so it's doing its job so far. You guys can see what the regular camera's doing here. Let's flip this around. Where's my flip button? So you guys can see what we're getting into. So I'm able to control my exposure from here. This is the first time that I have off-roaded this truck. Oof. Oof. Well, good thing that A7CR is a rental. So you can see what we're getting there. Getting a little bit of the arm because it's obviously so yeah, this is probably some of the worst places I could take this, but you can see what the arm's doing there. I think this is gonna be a great option for anybody who does adventurous type stuff. Let's flip this. So now you guys can kind of see what that camera over here is doing. And yeah, it's just getting I should probably tie that down, but I don't have any tie downs in this truck. Oh boy, okay. I have no idea if it's even on the thing. We'll pull over here in a second. Ooh. But yep, you can see the arm in action there and it looks smooth. Now, I think if we're gonna properly test this, we're gonna need to get some speed. Guys, speaking of fast, this is the next day here. I may have blown out the tranny in this thing a little bit. Ooh. Uh-oh. We'll get back to how we got home and how that happened. The crazy thing is, you know, watching the footage back, you really can't tell how intense it was in here to where I was like, I'm about to like jack up my truck here, purely because of how steady this was. It was mounted right up here. You guys will see. So obviously, if you want to capture the action, if you want to capture the intensity, you know, you might not need to stabilize your camera, but I think a lot of us want to stabilize it. So maybe that wasn't the time to use this tool, but that was the time we used it. But today I've come a little bit more prepared. I'm actually brought all the stuff we need to, you know, better rig this so we get better suction and everything on there. Let me show you guys. I'll put a link in the description to all this, but this is kind of necessities. This is detailing spray and a microfiber rag. So we're gonna put this similar to how we did the other day. I do want to try to get a little bit higher though, but this is what I highly recommend because this will just give the suction better surface to grab onto. If there's dirt, if there's dust, that's enough to kind of rip your suction apart from the paint. So I'm gonna hit just the power button 3 times here. It should turn it on. So again, it's this easy. I'm just gonna set it where I want it, put a little bit of pressure. You can hear the vacuum starting to suck down on it. Again, hands off. Our suction's at 98%, so I'm just gonna, there we go. Now we're 100%. This isn't going anywhere. So even after that, it's still 100%. All right, guys, we're here in my hometown. After this whole segment, you guys will see how I basically blew the tranny in this. It's still leaking. So I feel like I'm kind of on a ticking time bomb. So I don't want to set it too hard, but you know, we'll see what we can, you know, yeah. We do not have the anamorphic attachment on this because I don't know where it's at. So we're rocking the Freewell VND on there just to kind of help our shutter speed. I also have the DJI Action 5 attached to a magnetic mount straight onto the hood. So we'll be able to capture the arm in action. So far it looks like just the isolator is doing most of the work here. Just some of it. So you can see the arm doing a little bit there. We got some mud here. So you guys can see we're gonna hit that mud puddle there. This is the only adjustment that you really have to worry about affecting. Oh, you can see the whole thing just kind of went limp there. So there we go. So now I'm gonna go the other way. So when you're adjusting this, you wanna keep hitting the arm. So it's making adjustments as you go. I think that's good. We're gonna run it like that. See what we can do. If you guys are digging the way this DJI Pocket 3 and Action 5 footage is looking like, I graded them with my Roadrunner film emulations for D-Log M. I'll have a link down below if you want to check them out. Let me just take 30 seconds to show you this, and then we'll get back into the fun stuff. Just to start off with, this is DJI 709 conversion LUT. You can see it doesn't look half bad actually, but let me run you guys through my LUT real quick. So this is Bones. Bones basically does all the film emulation color without all the contrast. Nest then goes in and puts all the film emulation contrast into there. Half speed starts adding a little bit tonality to the highlights and the shadows while also creating a fade. Full speed is the same thing, except I start pumping up the film curve. OTR means off the record. So this is me just throwing all the sauce in the pan. It's pushing all the tonality, all the contrast, and all the fade that, you know, I liked personally. Again, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check these out. Let's get back into the fun. I am a simple man. It doesn't take much. So you guys can see the arms in there. Obviously, if we flip the arm around, that wouldn't be an issue, but you know, yeah. So nothing too crazy. The arm's definitely in action now. I'm gonna flip it back over at me. See another bump there. Lots of bumps. Oh, all right. All right, Cam, settle down. This is one of my friends don't trust me off-road. Oh yeah, that arm's doing a whole lot. This is doing a whole lot. No wonder my transmission is going out. We could probably stiffen the arm up a little bit more, but I'm gonna leave it there as is. It's getting hot in here. Yeah, it definitely needs to get stiffened up a little bit. Our suction was at 87%. I just put a tiny bit of, you know, pressure on there and it fixed it. So this is where we're really gonna get some action here. So the isolator is doing a lot. Oh yeah. Let's flip this around. So there we go. I'm bouncing everywhere in here. Yeah, that Pocket 3 is getting just bashed around. So if you guys watched my previous video on a similar product to this, again, the main issue was the rolling shutter on the Pocket 3. Just hard mounting it to an arm like this for off-road stuff, it just, you know, wasn't the right camera for it. Obviously the Action 5 is hard mounted to the hood of the truck and it's just, you know, it's handling it just fine because the readout speed on those sensors are like pretty wild. Flip this around here. So you see the arm in action and you see it's a pretty stable shot, like no complaints myself. Y'all don't know what it's like to try to control a camera, monitor it, and try stick shift. Again, you guys can see the arm does get locked out, and it's because I don't have it adjusted perfectly. I'm still fidgeting with it, figuring it out. It's doing its job. So you guys can see the Hydra mini arm's definitely helping a lot, but the isolator is what's really going to help smooth out all those micro shakes and bumps that the Pocket 3 doesn't do well on its own. All right, this truck's holding up. Ain't mad at it. There's a good bump here. Yeah, the arm's doing its job. So we get some pretty cinematic shots here. So say if we're coming through this, I could lower it down like that. Obviously I could have done it a lot slower, but I'm doing too much at once here. Flip it back around again. I'm trying to look at the road, so Sedona and I do not flip. The homies over at Dirt Tech here in my hometown, they installed my rough country suspension. Yeah, they did a damn good job. We're only going 25 miles per hour, guys. It feels way more intense than what it actually is. So you guys can see, this is an amazing piece of kit here. We're able to track with the DJI Pocket 3's gimbal, and then with the Tilta Hydra mini arm, we're stabilizing it. And with the isolator, we're taking out all the micro shakes and all that. You can see how much the arm is shaking itself. That would go into the Pocket 3 if we didn't have the isolator on there. Now, all right, so from here, I have another video that I was gonna film. So I just need to find a cool shot to take some pics. So you guys can see, this is what's magical about this is, again, it's like having a BTS shooter here with us. Sedona has a bad leg. She hurt it a few weeks ago, took her to the vet. They didn't really give me a solid answer, so she's still kind of limping, so I gotta retain it. The creek gets more beautiful up that way. We're losing the sun. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier in the day, but here we are. Sedona's pooping, that's great. Yeah, this is a great setup. I gotta get pics of this. This is sick. So they have different accessories that you can put on this, and you simply just undo that. That lifts out of there. It's kind of like a NATO rail. I think it's the same size of a NATO rail. So they have an attachment where it goes out to a flat piece, and you can pretty much attach any action camera to that. They also have it to where you can hard mount the Pocket 3. So I would say if you're doing any stuff like on the road or anything where there's not gonna be a whole lot of shakes and bumps, if you hard mount it, it's gonna be just fine. But personally, I would rock this regardless, because you never know. Right here, we have a lock. So I'll pull on the Pocket 3. It's not coming out of that section. We're gonna do a shot from the inside because it's dark now. You can hear the fans going. So let's figure out how we're gonna do this. So you see, I'm just gonna push it there. Automatically goes on. So we're so spoiled, guys. This is insane. This is gonna be difficult because we waited too long to get out of here, and now I can't see anything. So I think this is what this setup's going to be amazing for. Anybody who's like an adventure vlogger or whatever you want to call it. Camera just kind of does it all. And with this setup here, you can see we're still getting very smooth. Like, you really can't see how bad it is in here. So there's a million ways that we could rig this. I could put this on the side window, and that will give us a clear view of the windshield. But for now, again, it's nighttime. I don't want to fidget with this too much right now until I get eyes, back on everything in daylight. But yeah, insanely bumpy. You can see how much everything else is moving around compared to the camera. So it's doing a whole lot of work. Ooh. Okay, I think I'm gonna need 4x4 for this. We're gonna go at this at a different way. There we go. All right. All right. All right, guys, so that was way easier than it needed to be. I just chose a really bad line. But good to see that the 4x4 works in this thing. Old truck stuff. We're back in business though. So I definitely have not done a rundown on this truck to see what it's capable of. I definitely just thrashed on that transmission. You guys saw that was really bumpy just getting out of that. And yeah, now we're on the road. So I could pan this so you can see where we're going. Again, guys, there's a million ways to rig this in here to where you're not gonna have the suction cup right in your way. Again, we're just testing what we can do here. But you can see on standard roads, you're not gonna have any issues with this. By the way, I am using an anamorphic lens again on the Pocket 3. I will put a link in the description if you guys wanna try this one out. I think this is going to be a great option for you know, I don't know if people like to admit it yet, that if you're a content creator, there's a lot of ways to make a living, you know, documenting your life. You could be a fitness instructor, a dietitian, just an adventure person, like whatever it is. There's ways to make a living off of, you know, documenting your life. And I think this camera is probably the go-to option for a lot of people. Everything from the wireless mic, be able to directly attach from there, the gimbal, the way you can track people from it, the app support. Like, again, this is such an easy, fluid camera to use. Having accessories and rigging parts to, you know, just make the experience even more fun and usable, I don't think it's an issue. Man, I'm already running out of gas again. I think it's a gas guzzler. And I think Sedona wants this arm out of here too, because she's doing a real good job at trying to dodge it and not hit it. Suction cup. All right, guys, so one thing I am learning about the suction cup is you just have to apply light pressure and it will suck itself down, but it won't hit 100% unless you put even more, like a last bit of final pressure on there. I think it just needs a tiny bit of help to, you know, get that final 2% of suction. I don't know about you guys, but when nighttime hits, everything feels more stressful. That was the first time I took this truck off-roading and I couldn't see anything around me. Couldn't see, there's a giant boulder or a rock. There's not enough lights on this thing, so. And this should help the camera. This windshield cleaner has 0 soap on it. So that's the one thing that's annoying about the Pocket 3. It kind of just doesn't, there's no way to lock it. See how it moves like that? Let's see if we could figure out how to fix that before. There's no pan lock on the Pocket 3. I would love if there was a way again to lock it to one point to where it wouldn't shift at all. That's literally probably one of the few gripes that I have about this camera. Guys, from the back of the phone, this looks freaking amazing. I am just blown away by this. For this next part, I want to try to get a creative look. So I think I'm going to set it right here. I love this thing. It's so easy to use. Ready to get into action there. All right, guys, this is our angle now. You can see on the DJI Action 5 what we got rocking there. So I'll be able to pan it back down on me, or I could pan it to what we're looking at. Guys, this is a big reason why I got this truck, purely to have a freaking bench seat so I could pet my dog and get her dog hair everywhere. Oh yeah, we're testing it there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I definitely did not choose. I guess this was the right road for what we're doing, but okay. The arm's doing its job. It's making it look like this is nothing. Let's do a slow pan out that way. See what we're doing there. Yeah, soaks it up like it's nothing. Let's try to get this angle here. Yeah, I know, guys, this is really irresponsible. I'm looking at my phone while I'm just sending it over. Okay. All right, guys, so I think that's a decent rig rundown on this new truck here. All the suspension's still attached, at least from what I can feel. Transmission is still working at least at this moment. It could blow up on us on the way home. And yeah, you guys get it. Yeah, I think a lot of people might think, you know, this is purely just for stabilization. But I think the bigger part is it gives you a whole new way of mounting the DJI Pocket 3. So even if you don't need the added stabilization, you can use the other bits that come with it. Again, you can hard mount it. You can, you know, there's a couple other bits that come with it. So if you just need an option to mount the Pocket 3 so you can document, film for content, like whatever you need to do, you can use this arm for that. It's not just for stabilization. And yeah, this was fun. I genuinely enjoy doing this.